Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara. Today we are talking all about how to transmute your negative thinking in a very secret, ancient way, okay? Now, a lot of the times we get negative thinking. If you're familiar with positive psychology, you understand that there's a positivity ratio of 3:1. So that means 3 positive thoughts are equal to 1 negative thought, okay? First of all, happy Holi to all of you, okay? And I hope that you're all having an incredible day today. As you know, there's a lot of noise outside, if you can hear it already. But that's just a part of the parcel, okay? Let me just say this. A lot of the times, your thoughts are being amplified. Kuberaji amplifies your thoughts forward. Whatever thought it is, it could be negative or positive, just amplifies forward. Yama, however, which is behind you, kills the thoughts. So this is why we say, okay, leave the bad thoughts in the past, behind you, okay? And you'll notice that people who are very paranoid or suspicious, they sometimes turn around like this, right? To see that no one's out there to attack them and so forth. But try this the next time you have negative thinking. Just stretch like this, turn back around, stretch the spine. And then say whatever negative thoughts comes up. I'm a loser, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I can't. And just use that stretch to flush it out. And then come back here and amplify the positive and imagine you're sending it to Kubera. Okay, Kubera is the god of like wealth and abundance, and Yama is the god of death. So think about that, right? You're killing off the old thoughts and you're amplifying the new ones. Now, oftentimes, when I'll get into a negative confrontation with someone in an environment, I will sometimes even just stretch my spine and look at them from the side, right? So they're over there, and I'm over here, so I will just stretch. This part is being stretched. So this is actually very important for the vagus nerve to activate as well. So if you open up your neck like this, and you feel that stretch, you're gonna get that rest and digest feeling, tapping in immediately, right? So this is what sometimes I've observed I use with negative energy. Now, a lot of the times with negative energy, this is what I've observed, is laughter is one of the greatest banishing rituals known to mankind. Because we can laugh, we are letting go, we're releasing, we're also activating the vagus nerve in a strange way. And because of that, we're no more aggravated or in that state of fear. Also, I've noticed this, at least a sense of fertility and arousal bypasses a sense of negativity or fear at times. I have noticed this in myself, that I don't have that much fear if I'm just feeling in my body like I'm charged up, right? I'm horny. I don't feel that fear. I'll go into situations, I'll be brave. This is a powerful understanding, right? Because imagine before a date or something like this, you kind of exhaust yourself. Let's say you go for a little walk or a jog or a run beforehand of the date. You're gonna kind of be like a little bit zoned out, on the date. You'll be a bit like, a little bit indifferent, but that'll also come across as your vibe, right? The fact that you're not over investing, you're not trying to impress so hard right away, right? And so you'll kind of be in this calm, chill kind of zone, right? You're resting, right? But again, if you turn up the notch in terms of your own arousal, you'll start to notice that whatever negative thing is coming at you in that moment, it doesn't really matter. Have you guys ever seen the movie Harry Potter and the third movie, where they have the Bogart scene and that spider comes out and then Ron turns it into a spider with roller skates, right? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about laughter, and that you have a power to release this negative emotion very quickly with the power of laughter. If you start taking the situation a lot more seriously, and let's say it's a very dark, negative situation, you have to find a way to find the objective reality and the truth in that. Because what will happen is slowly your negative emotions will start to stack and pile on and pile on. Kuberaji will just take it and amplify. Wealth, abundance. But you don't want an abundance of that. This is the reason why I tell people, don't watch like all this sensationalist news over and over again, day after day after day, right? Oh, there was a tsunami in Cambodia. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's just focus on all these negative imageries and have conversations about others with this negative imagery. And let's talk about how the world is all going to shit and how we're all gonna die, right? With other people. Now you're amplifying that anger, and Kuberaji is saying, oh, he wants more of it? All right, we'll give him more, right? All right, bring it in, boys, right? We're bringing a truckload of this negativity, right? To just sit there. It's like piles of rubble that piles on. You guys get that? So you have to cut it, okay? You have to cut this and the cord. You have to start this flushing out process by doing this. Of course, you got to understand what is the first thought that you're getting, okay? If you can zoom it down and catch it and challenge the thought, then you can try to change it, right? A lot of the times our thoughts are just on autopilot. They're distracting, they're intrusive, they're completely random. What I like to do is I keep a not to do list. So let's say I'm working and I get a random thought, I'll write it down, right? Even if it's random, okay? I have an urge to scroll Instagram. I'll write down scroll Instagram, right? I also say this to people who are struggling with a lot of negative energy internally and they feel like they can't say anything. I would start by saying that, right? Like, just say that instead. It's like, I have a lot of negative energy and I don't know how to get rid of it. Okay, good. You're slowly setting the parameters to let this thing go now, right? It doesn't have a grip on you. When these negative feelings and thoughts and emotions have a grip on you, it means that you've trapped them with shame. Shame of, I can't feel this way, I'm gonna lose control and get furious, I can't handle myself, right? All of these belief systems are actually stopping you from feeling through your feelings and letting them go and processing through them, okay? Like, men aren't supposed to feel or whatever. Like, you have all of these ideas, right? I mean, take an example of just me muscle testing, right? If I start thinking negative thoughts and I start muscle testing, it's gonna be no every time. You guys get that? So it's taking away from my own intuition if I'm thinking negatively about the situation. Like, you can try it like this too, right? Think of a horrible scenario that's happening, okay? And you can try it with a friend as well. Try this with a friend. You ask them to put their hand out like this, and then ask them to think positive and ask them to think negative. You can even do it with a finger, right? You'll start to notice. This is the power of positive thinking. Okay, we can change the way that we think about something, the way that we perceive something, based on really practicing, reframing, putting it into a new frame, a God frame. Okay, and what is a God frame? God frame is this understanding that I am limitless, I am eternal, I am Christ, Krishna, or Buddha embodied. I feel this sense that I'm not going to separate myself from everything because I am in that oneness. And lastly, I purify my soul, purify my flesh, I purify through breathing, okay? I purify through affirmations, through meditations, through different forms of therapy. So I remain in my own divine nature. And when I remain in my own divine nature, the negative issues can't get to me. The way that you get really good at this is you spot distortions. Distortions are inaccurate thoughts, basically, right? So when you can spot those distortions, like, all women are like this, you call it out. All? Yeah, but I don't know, I've never done it like that before, so it's not gonna work. How do you know? Right? How do you know? Right? That's just really good. These questions that get you to dig deeper are very powerful. What do you feel like is stopping you? Getting people to explore a layer deeper of what the negative thought is telling them. It's like the thought could be telling them, like, I'm worthless, right? But underneath, we see that it comes from some trauma or something that hasn't been processed or something that has been completely misconstrued growing up. So the negative thoughts happen from a negative seed of an experience, correct? But we can't let those trees grow out in front of us. We have to let those trees grow behind us. Okay? Leave the past where it is and then just close a wall on it. Like, yeah, that was the past. That was then. Now is now. That was then. Now is now. And that's how you stop yourself from getting depressed, because you keep going into the past, going into the past. Oh, wasn't it lovely back in the 11th grade when I did this? Yeah, sure, it was lovely. And yeah, sure, it was lovely, but you thinking about it again and again is creating this weird, bittersweet, nostalgic memory out of it where you're gonna feel sorrowful that it's not there right now. So you're creating your own FOMO by going back in the past and digging up this treasure trove of all these things they used to do. Listen, what's relevant right now? The past for yogi is just a library. It's just for checking and references. It's not there to, like, you know, be like a beautiful cove of memories and different experiences that I can illustriously stay in, right? I'll stay in that cave if it's that glorious, right? But again, it's the same thing. A lot of negative emotions, you gotta understand this, man. It's inaccurate. It's grandiose, it's blown out of proportion, it's catastrophizing, it's overgeneralizing, it's something which is not the norm of the way that a thought is supposed to behave. So these are mutant thoughts that you're giving power to. You guys get that? They're mutated thoughts that you're like, oh, that's the truth, right? I guess I'll never make it, or whatever, and then you give up. So try this technique today, man. Shout out to Guru Pashupati, who's teaching me. So learn these. So put this into effect today, okay? So immediately put this into effect today. The fact that you can tap into your God state. Send all the negative thoughts to Yama, the god of death, and amplify. Ask Kuberji to amplify your positive thinking, forward momentum, so that you can move forward and start crushing it. Let's gain abundance and wealth and prosperity instead of death and decay and a feeling of lack and scarcity, okay? So what happens, okay? So let's say you have a negative thought. This is generally your shadow, okay, speaking to you. So you're having this conversation with like your evil twin, okay? So think about it like that, okay? The Sith Lord version of you, right? Having conversation with that part of you. You know when you're really angry and you're having that angry voice in your head, I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna murder everybody, right? That voice that you feel of rage, it's actually your shadow, okay? So you have to have a conversation with your shadow so you don't actually end up murdering everybody, right? So let's say that you feel that I'm a weakling, okay? I'm a weakling. And you know that you're a weakling. And that is a part of your shadow. But on the surface, you're telling people, I'm strong, I'm strong. And let's say that you start taking on activities or reference experiences that wills your way into strength, right? You're using your willpower, your will, in order to move you and make you strong, right? So now, like 3 years later, you've been to the gym, maybe you practice martial arts or whatever, and you have that level of strength, right? This is something I was delving into when I realized, you know, physically I want to be stronger, right? And of course, physical strength determines mental strength. So you will be able to say a lot more like, this is this and this is that, right? Be able to discern using your sword of truth, okay? Your sword of power, which is what you use to cut things and separate things and splice things, right? But understanding the God mind is that giant diamond that cuts, right? It already cuts away the noise and the nonsense. It just remains pure and true to the Om melody of the universe, okay? The Om, right? Which is, again, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, right? Ah is Brahma, U is Vishnu, and as it ends is Maheshwara or Shiva, okay? Really start to understand that through the energy of the Om, you can remain in your positive potential, okay? Very powerful understanding. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. Let me break it down further. So now you take the shadow aspects, you integrate it through the ego, so you actually grow the ego, right? And you make it bigger and bigger by working on yourself, by working on your confidence and those hidden traits and aspects. You find alternatives and solutions and cures to those understandings. So let's say the limiting belief is like, I can't talk to strangers. You talk to strangers until that doesn't hit anymore, until it doesn't sting, until it doesn't have this weird animosity around it or stress around it, right? You just do it enough times that you shut off the thinking brain. That grows the ego, right? That reference experience of you doing that over and over and over again are going to slowly wean away those negative thoughts, right? So this is also something else to think about when it comes down to negative thinking, but use that tech, Yama tech, okay? And let's get to work, guys. Let's get busier, okay? Busier, not for the sake of being busier, but because we got work to do to heal the planet, to heal ourselves. Let's go. Upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same again. I'll speak to you soon.